Hello everybody, welcome to Snyder's Inc. And today we have got an expo video, and this is the fall of Flight 123. And we don't get right into it, ladies and gentlemen. Hit the like button, hit subscribe button, comment what you think down below. If you would like to help me and the channel out with a donation, you can leave a super thanks or link to my PayPal's in the description. Let's go. Content warning. This video contains real world audio recordings. Subject matter that some viewers may find disturbing, including the audio-visual recreation of an aircraft disaster. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. Whoo! So we're gonna hear the real audio recording of either what happened here or the lead up to it. That is fucking insane. Okay, gotta get prepared for this one. I don't even know what this is, so I'm gonna get prepared for this. I have a feeling this ain't gonna get monetized, so I definitely need your donations. I ain't getting monetized with this video, clearly. From Expo with Love.
Aboard a Japanese passenger flight on the 12th of August 1985, an alarm begins to sound. Unbeknownst to the pilots, the plane had just undergone a rapid decompression, leaving them scrambling to get the aircraft under control. Over and over, they attempt to maneuver the plane back home. However, nothing they try seems to work. The airplane is completely unresponsive, yet the over 500 passengers on it have no idea just how dire their situation truly is. On this
That's the most insane thing with the plane crashes, right? That's why I'm scared to get on a plane. I feel like I have to at some point, but I'm scared because unless it's a real, like, clear, obvious emergency, there could be issues with the plane that you have no idea about that just leads to you crashing. That's fucking terrifying. Like, that is terrifying.
This aircraft, a structural component, has undergone a catastrophic failure. A failure caused by a near-decade-long oversight, and a failure that would lead to what is now known as the single worst disaster in global aviation history. Tonight's video is sponsored by Incogni. As we move towards an
We always skip to the main thing. We don't do sponsor stuff here, so.
It's Monday.
This is 1985, so I don't know how good, obviously I wasn't alive in 1985, I don't know how good technology was when it comes to planes and shit. So I don't know how easy it was for people to figure out the issue on a plane. Clearly in this case, they had no idea what the issue was, or they couldn't fix it, obviously, in the air.
Delta Flight 191 is under investigation after a tragic accident. A string of unsolved murders grips a small town in Washington. And across the pond, in Tokyo, it's rush hour. It's the week of Oben, a Japanese tradition in which they honor their fallen ancestors, and thousands.
Japan is such a beautiful yet crazy ass country, and I want to visit and I don't, because there's some things that go on in Japan that make me decide, nah, I don't want to go there. But then I also look and see the stuff there, and I'm like, I kind of do at some point. It's very conflicting.
Are scrambling through Haneda Airport to get home to their families. At 6 p.m., Japan Airlines Flight 123 prepares for its 5th flight of the day. This one is full, traveling from Tokyo to Osaka a little under an hour away. On this day, 49-year-old Captain Masami Takahama is training as co-pilot 39-year-old Yutaka Sasaki in a Boeing 747. The two are joined by a 46-year-old flight engineer named Hiroshi Fukuda in the cockpit, and 521 others awaiting this trip in the flight's main cabin. In every sense, this flight is entirely routine. All is going to plan, and they're just a few minutes behind schedule. Japan Airlines Flight 123 takes off at 6:12 p.m. And as the aircraft powers through the clouds, the passengers look out of their windows to a Tokyo slowly fading. "12 minutes in, and they're nearing the cruising altitude of 24,000 feet. And just as everyone's getting settled in,
in, I think is what I heard, just 12 minutes in, and hell breaks loose on this plane. How fragile was this plane?
At 6:25 p.m., there's a deafening bang to the rear as the bathroom ceiling collapses. A blinding white light flashes. The water vapor in the air condenses to a fog, and the oxygen masks fall in front of disoriented passengers. All of this happens in a matter of seconds, sending everyone on board into an unbridled panic.
How does a bathroom wall just collapse in? What the fuck is with this? This is like the plane they've been using for 30 years. It's like everything needs to repair it, but they went cheap and wouldn't repair anything. So now just everyone dies because you don't want to fix the goddamn plane. What the fuck? How does a plane bathroom just fall into itself without anyone fucking realizing there might be an issue with it? Cause don't they gotta expect that shit?
Put out your signal. This is an emergency system.
I'm sorry, but just hearing the thing be like, look, it's emergency, but please do not have your cigarettes on, but use your cigarettes. Like, that's your concern, is the cigarettes in the intercom? Why is that preset? Even for an emergency to send, why is the first thing is put your cigarettes out?
お願いいたします。お子様連れの方、どうぞ近くの方恐れ入りますが、お子様のマスクを用意お願いします。
That is insane. Just that quick. All hell broke loose on this plane. I wonder if people watch this and then never want to go on a plane. Like, if they even watch, like, maybe they have a flight set or something like that, and then they watch a video like this and they go, you know what, I'm not going on the plane now. Nope, I'm not going on. Nope. 14 minutes into flight.
The crew begins to realize that the plane has become uncontrollable. After being granted permission to return to Haneda Airport, Captain Takahama panics, questioning why First Officer Sasaki is banking so much in one direction. He commands for him to ease up. However, all inputs performed by them are unresponsive. As it turns out, all 4 hydraulic lines leading to the plane's wings are severed, and unbeknownst to them, their vertical stabilizer is completely destroyed.
What happened to this plane? This is the most broken plane. This is everything with one screw hanging onto it and everything's fucked. What is this is broke. This is a glass fucking thing. This plane is just on the verge of destruction, just combusted apart at this point.
This plane is flying with no means of stability, and with that, their task of regaining control to land back home safely is borderline unthinkable. Inside the main cabin, a passenger takes one single photo, in which we can observe the oxygen masks fully engaged. Unfortunately, the supply is extremely limited, only meant to last long enough for the pilots to descend to a breathable altitude. What they were unaware of, though, was that the plane found itself stuck in what's known as a phugoid cycle, leaving the crew unable to control their descent, and in a way, unable to descend at all.
What?
Over and
I never knew this was a thing. I never knew there was a way for, this is how, I don't know much about planes, but I didn't know there was a way for a plane to just kind of stay steady at a pace, and nobody, not the pilots, nobody can control and make this plane descend. I never knew that was a thing.
over, the craft nosedives thousands of feet and rapidly picks up speed before the nose naturally begins to point up, recovering the lost altitude and stalling. It again dives, ascends, dives, and ascends, all while banking at angles of up to 40 degrees in either direction. By now, the crew is doing everything they can to make their way back to Haneda Airport for an emergency landing, yet the aircraft is doing everything it can to prevent that.
Imagine you're the people flying this thing, you're panicking as fuck. Cause you don't know what to do. You don't know you can't make this plane's not going anywhere you want it to go. It's just not working with you.
The pilots have not utilized their oxygen masks, and acute hypoxia has taken its grip. The phugoid cycle is problem number 1, yet posing another threat is the ever-encroaching side-to-side roll of the aircraft. To mitigate this, the crew manages to engage the landing gear, effectively suppressing the phugoid cycle. However, over the course of the next 5 minutes, the plane descends over 10,000 feet while rolling at an angle of over 40 degrees. Effectively, they achieve a complete 360-degree downward spiral over the town of Otsuki, and are understandably losing hope as every critical second bleeds by.
I don't know what you do in this scenario. If you can't aim at any, like, because I don't know what. I think it probably have not been in a scenario like this when no one can control the plane, because there's probably cases where you can't, like, descend the plane or you can't bring it, whatever, because something's not working. I don't think they've ever had it where someone literally can't control where the plane goes, what direction it goes, which way it turns, which way it fucking. If it decreases or increases, they can't control a thing. They just say, so they're trying to move it to control the goddamn thing to get away from the thing, but again, the thing's not controlled, but it's just gonna go into this damn mountain. Jesus, that is insane, bro.
The plane has dropped to a mere 6,800 feet. They are now heading opposite of Haneda Airport and straight towards Mount Takamagahara. Over the next 5 minutes, the crew fights to gain altitude to move away from this impending threat and manages to climb again to 11,000 feet. False hope this is, however, as they find themselves in yet another downward spiral. This time, right over treacherous terrain.
A simple 1 hour flight turned fucking haywire instantly. The moment they pretty much took off, this whole thing was doomed. All 500 of them and all of them were doomed. In the quaint village of Ueno, nestled in the mountainside, residents awaken to a lingering odor. In the air, rescue and news helicopters zoom by as they discern something the locals don't. On the ground, rows of trucks and buses are on the move, while crowds gather and gaze in utter confusion. Yet, amidst all of this, hardly anyone knew the gravity of what was happening. 21 miles southwest of their location, the remains of Japan Airlines Flight 123 are burning,
and are scattered across the mountainside. The plane is completely shredded. The landscape, wounded.
It's probably, you gotta find, go through all the area. You gotta find as many bodies that there are left. You gotta, oh, that's gonna take so much, that's gonna be so much work to go through. Jesus. And so disturbing to go through, too. Oh, my brain wouldn't be meant for that. My brain would be too damn disturbed by it.
And to say that this scene was grim is a criminal understatement.
Obviously.
Out of the 524 passengers on board that night, only 4 survived.
Wow.
This was the worst loss of life involving
4 only survivors of the 500 and something that got on this plane. Only 4 survived.
a single aircraft in the history of aviation. This incident is devastating, and the most frustrating aspect of all of this is that it did not have to turn out this way at all. You see, just 20 minutes after impact, a U.S. Air Force serviceman named Michael Antonucci spotted and phoned in the crash location. However, instead of making the call to lend support immediately, the Japanese military called off the rescue operation under the presumption that not a single passenger survived.
Japan, I sometimes question you. And like, look, there's a lot of smoke and people might not have survived. We're gonna send people down. They're like, nah, if it's smoking, they're all dead. Just come back. What a bunch of fucking idiots. This is
For over 12
idiotic.
hours, the plane burned throughout the night. A handful still alive and awaiting help from numerous aircraft that passed right above them. Aircraft that saw them, yet they were completely unaware that help was never coming.
So stupid.
One of the 4 survivors, named Yumi Ochiai, later recalled their experience from that evening, explaining how throughout the night they could hear children crying, adults screaming. It was loud at first, yet as the hours went by, these pleas slowly faded into silence. Some fell out of consciousness, some lost the energy to continue, but for the vast majority, this stillness signaled the agonizing death of lives that could have been helped.
Why though? Like, in logical standpoint, why would you just assume and not double check? In my mind, even if it's a crash and it looks like everyone's dead, you gotta know for sure because you never fucking know. In this goddamn case, they just, for some reason, I guess 1985 was the year of police, just the Japanese fucking government, all them wanted to be fucking lazy. They decided, like, nah. Our best hope is that when we go there in a few hours, everyone's dead so we can just not have to deal with rescuing people. Like, you're fucking stupid.
It took 12 hours in total for rescuers to arrive, yet by then, the scene was a gruesome graveyard. A Japanese medical doctor stated that had this rescue come 10 hours earlier, perhaps they would have found more survivors. But it was silent.
Oh, but I bet if you question them about that, no. See, they probably justified in their mind. They probably explained perfectly why they couldn't do it then. They just had to just do it 12 hours later. The fact there were children alive, there were children still alive and they didn't get help because people are fucking ignorant and fucking lazy. Oh, the fact they just called it off pissed me off so much.
In the years following the incident, no one would fly Japan Air, resulting in the company taking a massive hit in revenue.
I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not surprised. I wouldn't fly your ass either. Your plane broke. It wasn't that one thing went wrong. There were so many things that went wrong on your plane. Your plane broke. In many different ways. I ain't getting on your damn plane ever.
With this, both the airline and the Boeing company would pay out hundreds of millions of dollars to the victims' families over time. A reparation immaterial in the grand scheme of this tragedy. Even then, however, guilt festered in the minds of Japan Air employees as two of them, a 59-year-old maintenance official named Hiru Tominaga and a 57-year-old inspector named Susumu Tajima, would later take their own lives, with the former leaving a note with just a single phrase: "I am atoning with my death." In the end, investigators attributed the tragedy to improper repairs to the plane's aft pressure bulkhead, the rear component of the pressure seal present in all aircraft. It was learned that 7 years prior, the same aircraft encountered a tailstrike incident during a landing, cracking the bulkhead and rendering the plane unflyable. During repair, the engineers planned to utilize a large splice plate to connect the two sides of the crack, while reinforcing it with 3 rows of solid rivets. When done correctly, this would re-establish the full structural integrity of the wall, rendering it just as safe as it was before for flight. In reality, however, the repair did not go this way at all. Instead of using one splice plate, Boeing's repair technicians used 2 in parallel to the crack, effectively rendering one entire section of rivets completely useless. This oversight.
Why is it every time with some of these, there are some things people do that are just fucking stupid. It's not even that they like it later on is stupid with like the fucking recent Mr. Ballin thing, or that thing with like that fucking mission was good in theory except for the fact they already did it, so they were just stupid afterwards. Realized they couldn't have happened. In this case, your whole thing is you use one fucking thingy and the 3 sets and that puts it together. Why would you use 2 knowing that would make the 1 set not work? Stupid!
Was never discovered, and the plane flew in this condition over 12,000 times.
This could have happened at any point, is what he's probably trying to say. This could have happened at any point, it just happened on this one.
This tragedy echoes through the lives of everyone involved and is one of the most unspeakable catastrophes that should have been prevented. It's hard to grasp the sheer horror of experiencing a plane crash, let alone surviving it. Those who did had to endure a trauma and a loss that is unimaginable. The agonizing moments afterward, crushed under wreckage, helpless under the night sky, effectively forgotten in a blazing wilderness. I feel horrible for everyone on board that fateful night.
Me too. Me too. I mean, it's meaningless at this time frame. But fucking God bless anyone who went through this, and all the families now of the people who died in this plane. Because this shouldn't have happened. From the very beginning, this shouldn't have happened. Because the plane shouldn't have been going in the first place because they freaking messed up the thingy. Then when it crashed, they should have sent rescuers early. This amount of people shouldn't have fucking died.
And for the families and friends that were eagerly waiting for them, Oben is typically a time of communion, an annual reconnection with seldom seen loved ones. But for the 520 victims who lost their lives that night, they were never able to finish their journey to see them. Their families awaited those that would never show, and their memory is forever stained by an incident that never should have happened. That night, there was nothing anyone could have done. No way they could have known. But in the wake of it all, one thing is certain. Their memory, their lives, will forever be cherished by those that loved them, and their legacy will forever endure.
There is a big part of me right now that wants to cry for these people. My body is fighting it with every fiber of its being. Because I don't like crying on camera. I really try to avoid it. There's a part of me really wants to.
Until the end of time.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is it for this reaction video. Let me know what you think in the comments. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, comment what you think down below. If you'd like to help me out with a donation, again, you can leave a super thanks or link to my PayPal will be in the description. Thank you everybody for watching. I'll see you all for the next one.